Got to talk about Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Really, it felt like second half Bo Nix.
I think so. Fourth quarter Bo Nix.
Fourth quarter,
almost,
9 of 10, we were saying.
Right,
9 of 10 for Bo Nix. You were saying about this game, it felt like they missed a couple plays in the beginning of the game.
Right.
And then it all clicked. I want to start with this. It feels like Bo Nix is the new Baker Mayfield, and not the way he plays. That's not it.
Yeah.
But just because he's 6 feet tall,
right.
people think he has a weak arm.
Yes, right.
People did that with Baker. I heard a story when Baker was doing workouts for teams before he was drafted that like a coach flew out there and Baker works out and he has a great workout, and the coach turned around to the entire front office and scouting department that was there and was like, "You guys said he didn't have a strong arm. Are you kidding me?" Like he was pissed at how it was reported.
Right.
And then you see him in person. Feels like Bo's got a little bit of that, right?
I think so. I think that's what caught people by surprise when he was coming out for college, right? I've heard Sean Payton talk about it. One, he's a big 6'1", right? It's square
like
shoulders, long arms, right? Pretty long legs. So it feels bigger than that. And the other thing too, and I'm paraphrasing a little bit, but I remember him saying like, we were kind of taken aback by the power in his arm. And a little bit goes again into that college, what we talked about with the screen passes, and people went, "Oh, he must not have a strong arm because he's throwing screen passes." And it's like, no, that's what Oregon does. They have a quarterback there, and Dante Moore right now, who's got an incredibly strong arm, and guess what? They still throw screen passes. So that is. He continues, I think, to fight a narrative, but slowly but surely is breaking down some of those walls of people that were haters on him and whatever else. And he hasn't played perfect yet. He's playing really good. He's going in the right direction. I mean, of course he is. The playoffs year one up in Buffalo. I know they lose that football game, but that's impressive in itself. And here early this year, they played some tough teams early on. And did he play his absolute best? No. And were there a few moments where he missed a throw or a little over-aggressive maybe? Sure, definitely. But I think, again, like we talked about with Drake May, yesterday's pod and all that, we're still in the growing process here. Even though we go, wait, the Broncos are one of the best teams in the AFC, and Sean Payton said they're going to be in the Super Bowl, it doesn't mean yet at week 5 he's a ready to play in the Super Bowl, be awesome quarterback. He's working towards that, and I believe going to get there by the end of the football season.
Yeah, I want to start there because that was the top thing in your notes that stood out to me is just how impressed you are. Easy power is what you said about his arm.
That's right. That to me is what jumps out. I have always been someone that is like, hey, if you want to throw the ball against the Philadelphia Eagles, you got to throw the ball outside the numbers, right? That's something I believe in with them. They give you, even when they play zone, it's usually you have one-on-ones on the outside. And I do think that's an area you can do that. And we saw that in the fourth quarter and throughout the game. Maybe they even played that style of football a little too much early on. Early on, it was all just one-on-one shots on the outside. It was like, wow, there's really nothing systematically here that we're going to do. But yeah, his ability to throw go routes, deep out routes, comebacks, right, and not put a whole lot of effort into it. Makes those throws sometimes, and I go, ooh, there was somebody at his feet, and he couldn't even really step into it, and he still made the 25-yard out route throw. Or even some of the throws I see over the middle that are short. I just go, man, he's backing up and kind of, backpedaling away from pressure. And, man, he still throws it kind of sidearm 5 yards over the middle with a lot of authority. So, yeah, that is an aspect of his game that I think people are going to continue to realize as we go on, because I think they want to play that way too in Denver, where it's going to be like, oh, wow, they're a power-throwing football team. This isn't Drew Brees. We're going to throw 5 yards here, 6 yards here, 5 yards here, 6 yards here, right?
And that's what the passing chart shows. I mean, you look at the balance between attempts outside the numbers. He was 11 and 19 for 110 yards, and inside the numbers, very efficient. 13 to 17, 132 yards. That's where the touchdown was. Yeah, you're going to have your targets behind the line of scrimmage. That's the offense.
Yeah,
but
right.
You see some charts like, you ever see Russell Wilson's, which is just like the same
everything
thing.
right by the hashes.
Yes,
right.
Yeah. This is pretty good balance.
This is good balance, and it's mainly on the edge, right? I mean, we see very few things, at least down the field, close to the hashes. Even I think some of those ones you see that would be on the numbers in between maybe the right hash and the right sideline, or the left hash and the left sideline. Those are guys that started on the outside and maybe broke in or did something of that nature. Philadelphia doesn't let you throw the ball there. That's, to me, why I keep saying that. Philadelphia, of course, Vic Fangio is a master of match zones, passing people off, doing that. That's why you saw the Chiefs struggle in the Super Bowl, because they were like, oh, Chiefs, with all your crossers and stuff, we're going to have people sitting there waiting for it. So to me, if you want to throw down the middle of the field, you got to start pressuring them on the outside, and then maybe you can get into spots where you throw the ball down the middle of the field right now. But we know in football right now, the popular thing is deep crossers, crossing routes, or play action, throw the ball down the middle. And Vic Fangio's watching film every week going, that everybody I watch is giving up these plays down the middle with these big play action throws. I'm not going to do that. Yep. And you've heard me say too, it's a lost art in the NFL about throwing one-on-ones on the outside. There was a day and age when I was growing up where it was like, oh, you're playing Phil Simms or John Elway or Troy Aikman, and wait, the corner's playing 10 yards off? Then we're going to throw a 10-yard out route 10 times in a row until you come down.
Right.
But like offensive coordinators, I think, felt like left out when that one happened. They were like, wait, I designed all these cool plays, and now we're just throwing it to one guy. And, Denver a little bit, and I'm going to – you probably saw this in my notes, right? Denver, that's all they did, and I almost got the sense, arrogant maybe, but the Broncos thought they could just run the ball, game plan a shot or two down the field, don't turn it over, and we'll win the game.
Right.
I kind of felt like that's how they played the first half. Like they just thought, hey, as long as we don't mess this up, we don't think their offense can do very much. Let's just make a few plays here and there, and we'll win. And then within that, they found their asses down 17-3, and it was like, okay, you better do something.
Right, but they figured it all out in the second half.
Yes, they did.
I think the interesting thing to me with this team, Chris, is that Courtland Sutton is going to get his, but then it's kind of just a blender of characters.
That's where I think we got to fix that.
Right.
Right?
It's nice that you have a kind of platter of options.
Yeah.
But you'd like to get a number 2 going.
I think
where
so.
Is it a Troy Franklin week? Is it a Marvin Mims week?
Right.
Can R.J. Harvey have his moments?
Right.
Now Evan Ingram is back, and I think that's promising.
I think that's going to be big. I think at the end of the day, that'll end up being the next guy. It'll be Courtland Sutton. Oh, no, you took him away. Okay, and then it's Evan Ingram, and then it's the cast of characters. That's at least how I would envision it. But I think to the point you're making, Connor, yeah, they need to have something that's solidified as the number 2 option for that offense. Listen, I like, a complimentary cast and everybody, and yeah, you can't, pinpoint certain guys to certain things. I get that. But at the same time, too, to build the most efficient offense and the best offense possible, you'd love to go, wait, we feed this guy, and when a team bends too much to stop that guy, we got another guy where we go, ooh, we can feed him, and now you're screwed over because you bent too much to stop Courtland Sutton. And I think that's what they need to get going, and we'll see. The run game certainly will help that, which I think is going in the right direction. But the bottom line in the first half, way too conservative, too many 3-man routes, too much worried about the front of Philadelphia. Also, we've seen Philadelphia blitz more the last few weeks. And I think they came into the game, I think Denver came into the game thinking, we're going to get blitz. This is what Vic Fangio's been doing a little bit. But I think Fangio, who's played Sean Payton a bunch of in his career, probably went, Sean's usually got good blitz answers. I don't want to do that. That would be my 2 cents or my thought behind there. So there, they did a lot of like max protection or tight end and back really help out and chip on the ends before you go out, but you're not really a part of the patterns, right, that way. And within that and doing all that in these obvious pass situations, what happens? 3-man routes or 3-man routes with, hey, 2 other guys block, and then just go out into the flat. There were 7 guys in coverage, and Bo Nix was like, damn, nobody's open. They're not blitzing. And the front 4 is still kind of getting a little bit pressure, but I only have 3 guys downfield against 7 guys in coverage, and nothing's happening. And that was a little bit of the theme of the first half.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see kind of how this offense develops or grows as Evan Ingram plays more. They ran 11 personnel 73% of the time in this game. They had at least 2 tight ends on the field almost 20% of the time.
Yeah.
I think that number goes up.
It might. And early in the game, they did a lot of that, right? And again, to me, it went into conservative. We think our defense can stop them. We don't have to do much. Also, I think, again, they got into some 2 and 3 tight end sets early in the football game, I think because they were expecting blitz. And I think they thought, hey, if we get into 2 or 3 tight end sets, they won't blitz as much. Defensive coordinators usually don't like to blitz those sets because you can get in some power running formations, and if you call up the wrong blitz, it's like, oh, no, we blitzed everybody on the left, and they ran a power run to the right, and now we don't have anybody there, right? So it usually simplifies his defense that way, and they started out that way, but it felt like at the end of the game in the fourth quarter, they said, the hell with that. We got to throw the ball with Bo Nix here.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. In the first quarter, they ran more 12 and 13 personnel.
Okay,
that gradually seemed to go down.
Good.
So
all right. That's good for you.
The,
way to back me up, man.
I test and analytics. That's the goal here. All right. What do you say we get into the deep dive here?
Yeah,
you got
go
anything?
ahead.
Do you have anything more on this game? I don't want to run away from it
One
yet.
more thing,
Yeah.
just I think that's worth talking about. As the third quarter, the one thing I'll just say, there was no drastic changes. The only thing that Denver pushed Philly around in the running game a little bit. Philly then went into, they're running up the middle. Let's get in some bear fronts and some five-man fronts. And Denver had great success with the toss sweeps. That's where they really got a lot of yards at the end of the third and the fourth quarter. That was big there. And then I've had a lot of people be like, what happened? Like, what happened with Bo Nix in the fourth quarter? What did he do, right? I'd love to sit here and tell you that there was some drastic change or anything of that. But it was really just like Bo Nix making baller throws.
Right.
It's really what it was.
You said some throws he missed in the first half.
Throws he missed in the first half. He hit them in the second half. And, they won some one-on-ones and did some things that way to where you just go, there was no drastic change on either side of the ball. They got into a moment where it was like, hey, you got to start being on your A game here or we're not going to win the game. And he went to his A game just like we saw Drake May do on Sunday night, which is really cool to see, two young quarterbacks kind of taking that next step of their career there.
That quarterback class might be one of the better ones we ever have at this point.
Like if the only question mark right now is J.J. McCarthy.
Right.
That's it.
If Penix continues to grow,
yeah,
it's really going to be down to McCarthy.
It really is.
Everybody else is basically playing close to expectations, which is ridiculous.
Without a doubt.
6 quarterbacks in the top 12 picks, and you've already seen big flashes from 5 of them.
Yeah, Jaden's a superstar already. We know that. Caleb is he's on the cusp of superstardom as we sit here right now. I'm betting he's there. Drake May, about the same thing. He might not quite excite me as much as the two guys in front of him. You're right. We've seen enough to know about Michael Penix, and that's going. Bo Nix, I'm sold. J.J. McCarthy is the big one, and I'm not sold on J.J. McCarthy. Plain and simple. I'm not, and I'm a little worried about that situation there right now for the Vikings.
Yeah. By the way, I was looking at when they ran in the second half. You're right. They went basically outside zone or that pull lead toss.
Yeah.
Just spammed it over and over again.
Definitely did.
The Eagles looked a little surprised.
I think so. I think a little bit. And, the Eagles, going a few runs up the middle, it was like it scared them where they were like, whoa, wait, you ran the ball? Nobody runs the ball up the middle against us. How dare you? And they started to play those type of fronts, and it was a nice little, combative move off of that to get on the edge there a little bit. Yo, homies, it's time to watch some games. That's right. We're on to the NFL season here with Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
Hit subscribe to get our weekly picks, Sunday night recaps after every game, and much, much more.
Thanks for watching. Peace out, homies. Remember, subscribe. Peace out.